exist. And if you go around and look at this building, every piece of furniture in this building just about is on wheels. And this was a thing that Ramesh decided to do because he didn't think he was going to be able to predict how people are going to use the building in advance. Put it all on wheels and see what happens. So this space is the same thing, and this whole theory. So this room is under construction. It'll have 100 megapixels with 64 tiles on wheels and in reconfigurable ways. And part of this will be going out to conferences and out to other things. You know, if we have some kind of emergency response, we can get these things anywhere in San Diego and set up in an hour or two. And then people, first responders, can share stuff from their laptops, from their smartphones, and so on. We haven't done that yet. We haven't had the only emergency we had in recent history was the power going out. Help us at all. So I'm going to skip this, just a little animation on this. So we've been using these things for various reasons. Here's a bunch of folks in archaeology. This was at supercomputing last year. This year for SIGGRAPH, we decided let's build a whole booth. So a month ago, we had a whole booth in Vancouver made out of these things, out of 8 of these units. This is 6 of them right here. And so you see we constructed this up. And now, one proviso, and you know, we're going to fully disclose the flaws as well as the wonders of this. These things are very fragile. So they are, part of the problem of not having a frame is there's just about nothing to keep the glass from cracking. Okay, and the glass on these things is that thick and it's that big. And we've broken a bunch of them. And if you break the glass, they're not repairable. So it's $4,000 or more down the tubes. We built these cases because it was inconceivable in the time of setup for show to actually mount these in a way that you wouldn't break a good deal of them. Now normally these things are designed to be hung on a wall and left, right? Not to be, nobody moves them around except for us. So we are still analyzing why we've lost a couple for different reasons, including ones that break. I mean, they may just break, I don't know. It's just, who knows? But we know sometimes when we've broken them, and we know other times, you know, they get handled kind of roughly at shows going on off trucks and things like that. So even in their nice cases with all their velvet padding and everything, we're still having, I mean, remember we're moving a lot of these around a lot of places, and we've actually physically broken one since we started using these things. So it's not perfect. It's, but the whole reason for doing these elaborate cases was to be able to move them. You can't really install these and deinstall them and expect them to survive. It just doesn't work. So that was a case of changing one. We had spares with us. Now this is what the inside of that booth looked like. You know, booths go up quickly, and this is not, you know, this is a booth quality installation. We didn't do tours inside the booth. But that's approximately, you know, that's with the 10 gigabit internal networking, the 1 gigabit networking, power, and everything else. That was it. But the cool part about this thing was that, oh, here's one of our users with the paint system. The cool part about this was that we didn't have to send. How many of you have done shows at exhibits at conferences and taken things? And so few of you. Okay. So the big deal is at the end of the show, you're exhausted. You want to get out of there, and you spend 4 hours waiting for them to bring your boxes back from storage. Okay. So our boxes are all there. You know, our boxes are part of the show, and so the backs of them just clip on the back with Greg's design. But the interesting thing is we had to explain to the show management that has a rule about keeping the cases in the booth. You know, they call it fire hazard, but it's really because they want the money for the drayage. You know. So we had to explain to them that you know, the cases were an integral part of the exhibit. And they go, huh? And then somebody says, tell them you're selling cases. So I said, we're selling cases, you know. And they said, oh, okay, and that's all right. So we got to keep the cases. So this is more of being at the SIGGRAPH conference using the touch screen. We're going to show you little videos of this later. I'm just going to skip through it to catch up some time. These are just different sides of the booth. And then at the end, this is one thing I will show you. And let's see if I can actually get this guy to come up in a sec. I had it at the...
Drag it higher and higher.
Oh, where I am over here. So this is how you load movies on this system. So here's a little movie. And where did she go? There she is. Okay. Okay, so this was one of our colleagues from Saudi Arabia. She had never done this before, and she was just thrilled that she could put this thing back in the box. Yeah, so it's got a little motor in it. We'll show you. You can play with it later on the one over there.
Those are 4 per box?
Yeah, yeah. So it's exactly that system. Well, all of these are the same. And of course, it goes into boxes, so it can go through doors. Part of the was that me? How am I doing that? Part of the trick here of Greg's design is that it actually goes through doors. It doesn't do you much good if it won't go through doors. So that's a gating phenomenon in the design. Okay, let's go ahead and drag her down into. So if you want to get rid of something,
Drag it up to the
actually,
right.
no, just do it this way.
Drag
Can I
it to
ask
the
a
right.
question? Has he gone into the magic industry? Because we were just chatting, it looks like it only goes halfway through.
There's a top half.
There's a top to the case. Yes. Yeah, look around you, there's parts everywhere.
The one on the right.
So next week, by the way, we're building all of those guys, next week in the kit, all those guys. It's time, so next week all the cases come in, and that's and the frames for them, and then all these panels get put up. Again, towards what we're going to build for supercomputing. Well, this is what we're going to build for supercomputing, is this setup, except the side panels will be the side ones will be the new displays. Okay, so I'm just about done now. I want to say that in the past 15 years, since we've been really actively working on networked visualization to connect these screens for collaboration at high level, not just video conferencing, but really data-centric conferencing. The network engineers that made fast networks easy for us. 15 years ago, this stuff was very hard. 10 years ago, it was hard. 5 years ago, every time we did one of these things, it was flop sweat. Is it going to work? Are we going to get through? Is it going to last for 45 minutes before it goes down? Now it's pretty bulletproof. We even survived all of the power outages last week here, amazingly enough. Computer engineers that made computing easy at universities and companies and in clouds. The visualization engineers that made graphics easy, the game people, the 2D, 3D, and even up, full HD and 4K. All this stuff is now accessible. But collaboration, including my player being in the way, is still challenging. So that's what we're going to talk about today and try to give you the feeling for the pieces for collaboration and what we can do with it. People always ask you in the real world, what's the killer application? And it's completely clear that collaboration, to me, collaboration is the killer application for visualization. And since we have an official NSF program officer here, I'm going to put up our acknowledgement slide, which you're supposed to have on all your presentations.
Yes, absolutely.
And I always do, naturally, because you're. Okay, so we're going to go on now to the next presentation, and I want to thank you. Look at that. I can just get rid of myself, just like that.